Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. As Mike said, I'm John Murphy, and I'm the CIO at ATPCO. While the unspoken innovation of the cloud sounds like a strange name for a presentation, the title is really meant to suggest that while we talk a lot about the innovation happening in pricing and retailing, the evolution of the cloud is one of the key enablers for that innovation. So I thought we'd break that down, break the basics down a little bit in this session. But before we do that, I wanted to take a quick pulse of how familiar each of you are with cloud computing at your companies. So let's take a look at the poll. What do you know about the cloud and your company's use of the cloud? So you know nothing about it, you know enough to talk about it, or you could talk about it all day. You're familiar with your company's strategy, you know what the aim is, what the benefits are, and where you're going in that regard. So we'll give just a couple of seconds for you all to answer that. By the way, it's not uncommon for a cloud strategy to be a virtual unknown in a company. It's unfortunate when that happens, but everybody should know essentially the direction that is being pursued. And are we ready with results quite yet? Almost. So 38% nothing, 40, almost half enough to talk about it. That's superb. And you could talk about it all day, about 16%. So let's get to it then. Those are good results. It's a good mix in the audience, and we're gonna talk about the basics and the innovation. So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the delivery of computing as a service, and that includes servers and storage and databases, networking, software, analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, et cetera, all of that over the internet. But to be truly cloud and not computing as a service, it has to be three things. First, it has to be scalable and elastic, which means that it can grow and shrink at will. It needs to be self-service, which means that the people who are taking advantage of those services don't have to necessarily cut tickets to their IT departments and then wait hours, weeks, or months in order for new space to be provisioned, new capacity to be brought online. It's instantaneous, and it has to be metered by use, which means you only pay for what you use. As you grow, you pay a little more, and as you shrink, you pay a little less. And that's different than data center investments because you have to pre-buy capacity before you can allocate it, and then once you've bought it, you're stuck with it until you replace it with something else. So that's what makes cloud a lot different than what we've done in our data centers in the past. The benefits of this are huge. First, you get speed out of that. Since infrastructure is now a service, you can pivot much faster because infrastructure becomes more fluid and it can move at the speed of software development. And that is a really new development. Used to, software was fast, but hardware was slow. With the cloud, we become much more immune to changes in that hardware and that infrastructure. And that's what creates the organizational agility that we're looking for. Now hardware and software can evolve at the same pace. An organization can focus on its core competencies and not on the hardware stack underneath it. And then you can do it at global scale. We can all deploy instantly all over the world. We can do it in a highly performant and reliable way. And this is what leads to faster cycles of innovation. The cloud gives us the ability to absorb those new technologies much faster, which in turn creates new partnership opportunities, and we can execute much, much faster than before. Essentially, everything speeds up. And as Dave Siegel mentioned in the presentation to kick things off, access to this is now ubiquitous. Everybody can take advantage of this regardless of company sizes, whether you're a large airline, a small airline, a large OTA, small OTA, it doesn't really matter. All of this access, this global scale, this organizational agility that it creates, the access to artificial intelligence and machine learning is ubiquitous now. So how big a deal is this? The cloud is huge business. Overall, the cloud computing market size across all industries was $371 billion in 2020 and is projected to be over $1 trillion a year by 2026. We're seeing new cloud deals announced every day across all industries, and the travel industry is no exception. Star Alliance uses AWS. Delta just announced a new partnership with IBM to move to the public cloud. Sabre signed a 10-year deal with Google earlier this year. Amadeus recently signed a deal with Microsoft Azure in February of this year. every week we see new cloud deals, whether they're airlines or GDSs or other travel industry participants. When Amadeus signed their deal with Microsoft, the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, had an interesting quote. He said, "Advances in digital technology are rapidly defining every aspect of work and life, including how we travel." He went on to say, "Together with Amadeus, we'll apply the power of Azure, Microsoft's cloud service, and its AI capabilities to create new frictionless experiences for travelers worldwide and reimagine the travel industry going forward." Now, he said that about Microsoft Azure and Amadeus, but to one extent or another, we're all pursuing that same vision with our cloud initiatives. We're trying to create new frictionless experiences for travelers. We're trying to reimagine how the travel industry works moving forward and create new business models within our own companies. In general, airlines are deploying cloud-based systems to replace their data center investments in their corporate systems, in operations, including supply chain management, scheduling, MRO services. Airlines are building new customer applications and services in airports to take the friction out of the travel experience. However, the future of the cloud is really all about data. Cloud evolution really has three phases. The first phase was application as a service. We all moved from installing applications on our notebooks and PCs to using web-based applications. And that really started several years ago and is still going on, but more and more of the applications that we interact with are web-based. Phase two was all about infrastructure modernization and elimination of data centers. There was a realization that data centers could be drastically scaled back or totally eliminated by using cloud capacity instead. And that really came on the heels of applications as a service. But now we're in phase three. And phase three is really all about about digital transformation. Digital transformation is about the infusion of data, analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning into business processes. And today, we're quite literally in a renaissance of data and analytics. So I'm going to give you a slightly contrarian point of view. The travel industry has plenty of data. Passenger information, purchase history, search history, fare history, demand data, customer satisfaction data, operational data. There is no shortage of data in the travel industry. The problem is, overall, we're pretty bad at curating and sharing it, and it's very difficult to use for solving real-world problems. In fact, let's do something agile. Let's test that hypothesis with another quick poll. Are you aware of data that would help make your job easier and your decisions better, but you don't have access to it? So the potential answers are, you have all the data you need, you don't need any more, you're making perfect use of it, it's helping your decision making every day. Second choice, I can get most of what I need, but not all of it. And third, there's huge amounts of data and information out there that I wish I could get access to. And if I could, I know that I could make better decisions, make better choices, and drive the company forward in new ways. So I'll give you just a minute to think about that and answer the question. All right. That was kind of the response that I expected. You never know when you do one of these live polls what it's going to come back at, and you always worry it's going to be completely different than you expected, or excited that it's completely different than what you expected. But 60% said there are huge amounts of data out there. Almost no one said they have all the data they need, and 37% I can get to most of what I need, but not all. I think that's pretty common. That there is a ton of data out there, but getting to it and getting it integrated is the real problem. At ATPCO, we've begun to try and solve that problem, both for our customers and for our employees. We created a cloud-native data lake, which we call Data 360, to make it easier for teams across ATPCO to store and analyze data. We're creating APIs, which encapsulate complex business logic to make the data easier to use and integrate into new products that scales effortlessly in the cloud. We recognize that more and more of the industry's data will need to be processed in real time, and we're building a cloud architecture that supports the real-time consumption and processing and application of algorithms to that data. And our cloud-based industry platform will also serve as the technology base for all of our innovation moving forward. In March alone, we moved over 200 data services from our data center into Amazon, and 100% of our new development is in the cloud. Our fare management system architect, which was mentioned earlier, is also a cloud-based application as well. To wrap this up, I have a quote here that I love. The cloud provides an environment, not an outcome. All these great things can happen in the cloud, but those neat attributes are really just the environment for which we can innovate in. It's not the outcome itself. At ATPCO, we want data to flow more like water and not like oil. Oil is slow, it's sludgy, it's highly valued, it's protected and controlled by the few. But we believe that data should flow more like water into every crack in the organization without resistance and available to everyone. Only then we can build truly holistic offers. We can really understand why passengers choose one product offering over another and truly begin to innovate in the industry. If anybody would like to talk with me further about ATPCO's vision in the cloud or things that we're doing, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on that slide. But thank you very much for your time, and look forward to speaking with you again soon.